We are in the first quarter of this financial year, and at this time, quarterly earnings and soon annual reports will be out. And during this time, companies announce corporate actions. Today, we'll be discussing these two corporate actions from scratch. So I have a question for you. What does a company do if it has surplus cash? Can you think of it? What does the company do with that extra money? Well, there are three ways that it can use that money. First, it can do nothing with it, just like Apple or Berkshire Hathaway. They're sitting on so much cash and not doing anything with it. The second thing that it can do is reinvest that money into other companies. Maybe something like what InfoEdge did with all those startups. The third is give away that money via dividends. But there is a fourth way. It can buy back the shares from its investors, from its shareholders, and this is called a share buyback. A share buyback is exactly what it sounds like. A company goes and buys existing shares from the public, from the existing investors. I have an example here. This is an apartment that is being built by a builder. Now, these three people, these investors, want to invest in this house that is yet to be built. So, they basically give these 2 coins to the builder, and now they own this unbuilt apartment complex. Few years go by, the builder keeps building, and these people now have got a handsome return on their apartment. The builder now buys back the apartment for a little more money. This time he offers 2 more coins. He offers 4 coins to these investors and buys back the apartment from the investors. This is called a share buyback. In the stock market, this company will basically pay money to buy shares from the open market and push the prices upwards, usually from the shareholders. So, what are the ways that a company can do a buyback of its own shares? One way is basically buying shares from the open market. Recently, Infosys around the 14th of April 2021 did a buyback of 9,200 crores equity shares through the open market route. A second way to actually conduct a share buyback is through a tender offer. And very simply, the company gives a price band usually above the current market price to existing shareholders as an offer. And existing shareholders can accept that price. Usually brokers will allow this through their back office mechanism where you can apply and actually get your shares purchased by the company board, by the company itself. Aarti Drugs actually recently announced a buyback at rupees 1,000 through a tender offer. The offer was available from 27th April all the way to 10th May. And you can see over here that the Aarti chart actually moved up a little bit after the announcement. There are 2 other procedures called the Dutch auction and a direct negotiation with major shareholders, but we don't need to discuss this right now. So what is a share buyback signal? So when a company announces a share buyback, iska kya matlab hai? So the first thing is that it shows management confidence in their own business. It means that the business is so confident in its future that they are investing their extra cash in its own business versus investing it in other safer assets like a fixed deposit or liquid funds or bonds, etc., etc. They think that the company itself is going to grow more in the future. Generally, this is considered a good thing. Another way to interpret a share buyback is how the EPS is affected. So the EPS, or the earnings per share, actually increases when a buyback happens. So you need to see if the EPS was falling for a long period of time and suddenly the EPS goes up because of a buyback. Was the buyback done just to move the EPS? Generally not a good thing. You want the EPS to be growing over many years, and then the company additionally announcing a buyback. That would probably make a little more sense. So what are the red flags when a company does a buyback? You don't want a company to be doing buybacks because it's moving key metrics like the ROA, the ROE, or even the EPS. So make sure that these metrics are moving up and it's not done to downward moving metrics to change their direction by performing a buyback. The second thing, and that's a huge red flag, is the use of borrowed funds to do a buyback. So you don't want companies to have debt or increasing debt to be performing this corporate action. You want them to be mostly debt free, which is why most companies in India don't do buybacks, because a lot of them have borrowed funds and they are in debt. And finally, don't think that a buyback means a company will go up. There are so many things to fundamental analysis that a buyback is just one part of it. It is not true that when a buyback happens, the company's share price will go up. It is only one factor amongst 100. So make sure you perform all the due diligence. Don't invest in a company just because it's announced a buyback. So that's how share buybacks work. Let's discuss how dividends work. I know everyone at some point has dreamt of having so much investments in the market that it's created a passive income stream from you from dividends. That this amount comes every quarter and aapka ghar chal raha hai and you've retired early. I know you've thought about this. So I won't explain what a dividend is. It's basically when a company distributes its profits to its shareholders. The real question is, how do you become eligible for a dividend? So there are 3 dates that you need to know. The first is the declaration date. This is obvious. It's when the company declares that it's going to give a dividend in the future. The next date is the record date. This is the date where you need to be owning the shares to actually be eligible for the dividend. So if you have the shares in your Demat account on the record date, you're eligible. Simple. However, India has a T+2 settlement cycle, which means you can't buy the shares on record date. You just won't be eligible. So if you buy shares on Monday, that's T, that's trading day, +2, that's Tuesday, Wednesday. Wednesday is when you'll get the credit of the shares. That's the day you should own it. So on the record date, 2 days before, you have had to place the position on the market to actually own the shares to be eligible for the dividend on the record date. But you know, the most popular date is the ex-dividend date. All you need to remember is, if the ex-dividend date is announced as 16th, you need to buy the shares 1 day before, that's 15th, to be eligible for the dividend. So let's take an example of dividend that was announced by Bajaj Auto on 24th February 2020. But the board of directors of Bajaj Auto announced that they'll be giving a dividend of 120 rupees a share. This is your declaration day. After this, the record date was set at 4th of March. And if you remember correctly, the record date is when you need to own the shares. 1 day before the record date is your ex date, that is 3rd of March, which means if you had bought the shares 1 day before the 3rd of March, you would be eligible for the dividends. As simple as that. Now, interestingly, on the 9th of March, that's only a few days after the record date, people got the dividends in their account. Now, that day where shareholders receive the credit of money for the dividend is called the payment date. Now, interestingly, how much do you think the shareholders earned from this dividend as compared to what they invested? So I have 2 examples here. Let's suppose someone bought the stock 10 years ago. It would have cost him 1000 rupees per share and 120 rupees was the dividend. So it's a 12% return on investment just on that dividend. Now, this ratio of how much you're earning from the dividend versus how much you invested is called a dividend yield. It shows how much that dividend is yielding on your investment. So the longer term guys, the guys who bought the share price 10 years ago, got a 12% dividend yield. But what if someone bought the stock in February 2020? Back then, the stock was trading at 3,200 according to this stock chart I have. and 120 rupees was the dividend, which means a 3.75% dividend yield, which is not bad considering it is such a highly priced stock. So that's what a dividend yield is. So do all companies actually pay a dividend? You need to understand that paying a dividend is not an obligation. A company doesn't really have to do it. In fact, some of the most successful companies like Amazon or Apple in the US don't really pay any dividend. The reason is very simple, that they want to take that money and reinvest it in their own business versus giving it to shareholders. So that is one line of thinking, to reinvest in a high growth business that is the business itself. Another way of thinking is companies like say ITC, etc., which pay dividends regularly to reward shareholders for being shareholders in that company. So these are two different philosophies, and it depends on the company's management whether it's a regular dividend paying company or it's just reinvesting in its own business. There are two more terms you will find in the world of dividends, and it's the interim dividend and the final dividend. Interim means in between, and this means that the interim dividend is paid between quarters during the year, which means an interim dividend could happen multiple times during a single year. The final dividend is just the opposite. It's paid finally, that is after the year ends, after the financial year ends, and this is usually done when the annual reports are released, when the AGM or the annual general meeting happens. There, if a dividend is announced, it is called the final dividend. I hope the share buyback and the final dividend are super clear now. If you have any questions, please ask in the comments below. And I hope we come up with new topics that you like. If you have any suggestions, also mention it in the topics below. I'll see you again in another video. Don't forget to subscribe because that's what keeps us going. Goodbye.